show.
We're going to talk about Team USA and the IIHF World Championship. They're 2-0 so far.
Woo woo woo! USA!
And we're going to catch up on round 2 of the playoffs so far.
Incredible hockey continues.
And we're going to recap the NHL Draft Lottery.
Which, if you watched, was one of the most confusing things I've ever seen. But we'll break it all down. And, of course, do our featured cards at the end. So let's start with Team USA. Team USA. We just finished the second game this morning. We got up at 6 o'clock this morning to watch it. And it was another just easy victory. I mean, not easy. I'm sure they had to play hard. Don't want to put down the other teams. I'm sure they all gave great effort. But game 1 on Friday afternoon was against Denmark, which Denmark started off playing really well. But by the end, Team USA just looked so much better. We were moving all over the ice. Who scored in game 1 against Denmark?
Let's see, that one was 5-0 victory?
5-0.
I know Maddie Beniers.
That's right. Maddie Beniers got player of the game. Joey Decord got the shutout. Great showing from Team USA in the first game. And then we move into this morning, 6 o'clock start time, a little early for us here in the United States. But we woke up to watch this morning on Mother's Day, which happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, including Hockey Mama, who I'm sure is watching. And this morning we had our game against Hungary. Who we were hungry.
We were
watching the game. We hadn't had breakfast yet. We were waiting to have Mother's Day breakfast after. We made some pancakes and bacon, but Team USA looked hungry. We went out and got another, 6-0 this morning? 6-0, 2 goals from Cutter Gauthier, 2 from Frank Nazar, who got player of the game. Connor Garland, yeah. And another shutout, this time for Jeremy Swayman. So we got a little goaltending duo. I mean, neither of those teams is super strong, so I'm not sure you can really say we got like a great look, but they both looked really solid, made a couple of saves when they needed to preserve the shutout. So great start for Team USA. Next game is tomorrow morning against Roman Josi and Team Switzerland, which I hope Josi plays. I haven't seen like a confirm or not, but I know he's on the team. He was injured the last half of the season for the Preds, so hopefully Josi plays. That'll be a fun game, and I would imagine their biggest challenge so far. Nico Heischer's on the team, Josi's on the team, so the Swiss should put up a much better fight than the Denmark and Hungary teams were able to do. So
Hockey Mama is here.
There's Hockey Mama. Happy Mother's Day, Hockey Mama. And let's see, after that, I don't remember who we play later in the week, but we got a few more games this week, mostly in the morning. So if you want to tune in, they're morning games, which is fun. We don't have to compete with Stanley Cup playoff games at night. So that's a pretty fun way to follow the team. In the other group, we've been keeping an eye on Team Canada, obviously the strongest team in the tournament. They've got Crosby, they've got McKinnon, guys that are eliminated from the playoffs decided to jump over there. They are also undefeated so far in a game against Latvia right now, which is a tougher opponent than we've faced, so who actually scored a goal. Neither of our opponents scored a goal, so. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on the World Championships all week long and update you guys next week with whatever happens next.
Yep. I mean, it's so fun watching Team USA compete one more time this season.
Yeah.
After there was the Four Nations, which we lost to Canada in the final, but also the World Juniors, which we won.
Yeah. I think World Juniors kind of reignited our Team USA hockey passion and spirit. Yeah, because there hadn't really been anything exciting about Team USA for a little while. Of course, there's some good American players, but the team itself hadn't really done anything noteworthy in recent years that I can remember.
They won the World Juniors also last
So
year.
that's what I mean. Like, they won the World Juniors and everyone went, whoa! So then this year, going into the World Juniors, we were really excited and followed along, right? And they won, and then Four Nations, and now we got World Championships, all leading up to the Olympic Games next year in Italy. So it's gonna be fun to watch, and our team looks really exciting. Even like this won't be the same roster as the Olympic team next year. We'll have some big names that aren't here right now, like
Yes.
Kachucks and
We'll have
Jack Eichel and people like that, right?
Austin Matthews.
Yeah, the Hughes brothers, yeah, maybe another Hudson brother, who knows. So it'll be so interesting to see what they decide to do with the roster, because some of the guys on the team right now in the World Championship are younger and are playing great. So trying to decide if they're gonna nudge some of those older American players that usually make the roster off and see what they put together. It'll be really interesting to see.
There are definitely, I think, a couple of guys on. If we look at the Four Nations roster, that could go.
Yeah, who would you swap out if you were like, okay, I want to bring in Cole Caulfield, Tage Thompson?
For Cole Caulfield, I'll take out Chris Kreider.
Nice.
Maybe for Tage Thompson, I would take out Vincent Trocheck.
Perfect.
And if we want, like...
Interestingly, both Rangers.
Yes.
Both New York Rangers.
Another defenseman...
Sorry, Rangers fans.
Another defenseman that I think that didn't do well was Adam Fox. Also.
Yeah, let's take him out for maybe Lane Hudson.
There's also Jake Sanderson here, who was an extra.
Yeah, Jake Sanderson played great. As well as like Jacob Slavin and stuff. Those guys, yeah, our defensive core looks really good. And even so far in this tournament, they look good. It's not the same core. We do have Zach Werenski. Is he it? Are there any other Four Nations? Oh, McAvoy is playing, I think, right? Or no? We didn't see him? I don't remember. Haven't seen McAvoy. So we saw like Mason Lowry.
Yeah, Andrew Peak.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, we got Jacob Slavin. That one for sure. Zach Werenski. I think Cole Hudson? Or no? Oh, Zeev Bouillon. He looks really good so far for the Minnesota Wild. And he looks great in the tournament. Just every time he has the puck, it's like he looks different than the other players, just the way he moves with it. So I think he's going to be one of those guys like Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, that just can move the puck so well, you know?
Yeah, that's what he looks like for sure. He's going to be probably elite.
So like guys like that, like, do they make the team? Like, you know, who do you bump off, right? To put them on the team. Hard. So yeah, okay, so your 3 picks to drop from the Four Nations rosters, all New York Rangers. So no, it doesn't bode well for the Rangers. All right, well, anything else from World Championships this weekend so far? Mostly covers it. Great games. Again, not super tough opponents, but look good.
The Preds have like our whole core playing.
Yeah, true, right? I mean, we got Yossi for Switzerland. Forsberg's playing for Team Sweden. Both our goalies are playing for Team Finland. We've got McCarron and Shea on Team USA. Ryan O'Reilly on Team Canada.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go Preds. And I think that's one of the coolest things. Preds have been such perennial contenders in the Stanley Cup playoffs that I've never paid that close attention to the World Championship as much as I have this year. And I think it's just because my team is out and they're all playing over at the World Championships, and then we've been reignited in this Team USA passion. So it's been really fun to follow the Worlds. And I don't think I knew, like, watching the fans, or I had forgotten how passionate the fans are at the World Championship. Like, it's over in Stockholm, and one other location is where the games are being played this year, and the fans look so passionate. Denmark, the stadium was like full of red, all wearing their Denmark jerseys. This morning's game, not as many, understandably. It was Hungary and it was an early game, so not as many fans there, but the ones that were there were super passionate. So
imagine if we have like Stamkos and Marchessault join like Canada.
Team Canada, that'd be awesome. I'm kind of surprised Stamkos isn't over there.
Yes.
but maybe ready for some time off. He is a little bit older. They got kids, But Ryan O'Reilly just loves the game, getting over there to play. I'm reading this book right now. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's called Behind the Bench, Inside the Minds of Hockey's Greatest Coaches. And the chapter I just finished was about Todd McClellan, and the author did a good job. He picks a coach that he wants in the book, and each chapter is a different coach. And he has a meeting with the coach where they rewatch together one of the coach's most famous games. And they're usually like a Stanley Cup final game or a World Championship game. And this past chapter about Todd McClellan was the gold medal game of the 2015 World Championship. So pretty cool. And they're talking about how they had their roster set. Like it was good to go. Team Canada, they got their team, and it was going to be a really good team. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins got eliminated from the playoffs. So the GM of Team Canada calls Todd McClellan, the coach, the next morning, was like, hey, we're going to add another player to the roster. And he was like, wait, like we agreed on this. This was our roster. Like, these are our guys. Are you sure you want to change it now? And he's like, yeah, we're adding one more guy. Okay, who is it? Sidney Crosby. Oh, okay, I think that'll be fine. And he said that was the thing that just really took that team over the top to be one of the best teams Canada's ever put together. And when you look at the roster, most of those guys, still amazing. It's Sidney Crosby, Nate McKinnon, and a bunch of other players. And Sidney Crosby and Nate McKinnon are on Team Canada this year, so should be fun.
That's in 2015, so only like a year or two later was when Connor McDavid would emerge.
So interesting, right? They talk about that because McClellan gets to coach Crosby and was talking to him about when he came into the league and what a superstar he was and what kind of things helped him develop. McClellan was the coach of the Sharks at the time, and at the end of that season decided to walk away. He wanted a different job. Normally, like when you're trying to become an NHL coach, you don't walk away from a job unless like you're like an amazing coach and some other team's going to get you. And he thought the Edmonton Oilers were interested. And so the Oilers were interested, and they were going after him in multiple interviews, and he ended up becoming the coach of the Oilers next and got to be Connor McDavid's first NHL coach. And he said that having that experience with Crosby at the Worlds and talking to him about what kind of environment helped him develop, he thought really helped him be Connor McDavid's coach too. So I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
Speaking of McDavid, I think that's maybe a good time to transition to Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yep.
We are well into round 2 now. We've got 4 series going on, right? This is the basically conference semifinals, you could say, right?
Yes.
Winner of these matchups will go to the conference finals. Where should we start? Which series you want to start with?
Let's go from Western to Eastern.
Okay.
Stars Jets.
Stars Jets. Game 4 is today, this afternoon.
Yes.
It starts. Wait, Game 4 or Game 3?
Game 3.
Game 3. They're tied up 1-1, aren't they? Starts out after Stars escape the first round with an incredible Game 7 performance. Legendary. We broke it down on the podcast last week. Performance in Game 7 from Mikko Rantanen, who got a hat trick in the third period. Goes on into Game 1 to do what?
Get a hat trick in the second period.
What? Like, how could that performance from Game 7 have gotten any better? He says, cool, I'll match that and do it again in Game 1 of round 2. Incredible. Back-to-back hat tricks in the playoffs. People are joking, saying, oh, it's not the Dallas Stars, it's the Dallas Rantanens. He's the only player on the Stars that's allowed to score. It's just insane. So Jets just don't look good in round 1. Their coach, Scott Arniel, even got on the mic after the game to say, like, I don't know what that was. That looked like a game from the middle of the season. Like, we didn't have any like jump to our game. Everyone looked tired or slow. He said, we'll be better in Game 2. Sure enough, they come out in Game 2, and the Jets played an excellent game and took Game 2. So series is tied up 1-1. What do you think going into Game 3 tonight? This
First,
one will go back to Dallas. First 2 games were in Winnipeg.
So first, was Game 2 a shutout for the Jets?
Yes, I believe so. Hellebuck's first shutout in the playoffs, I think.
Which technically still keeps the Ranton streak of assisting or scoring every goal.
Good point. Good point. Let me look. Let's see. So we go to scores here. So Friday night, that game would have been, 4-0 shutout. Goals from Velarde, Nikolai Ehlers, who I got the fantasy card for round 2 in Hut, Adam Lowry, and then Nikolai Ehlers again. So he'll go up to a 95.
It was his first 2 goals of the whole playoff.
Yeah, after I got his card, he was like, okay, I'll score. I was like, yes! I had no interest really in the Jets until that, and now I'm like, come on, Jets!
Score, Nikolai.
Score, Ehlers, and sure enough, he gets 2. So I was happy watching that one. Yeah, 4-0. Hellebuck gets the shutout. Is Hellebuck back now? He was the best goalie in the regular season. Hands down is going to win the Vezina Trophy for best goalie again. This will be his 3rd time, I think. And then round 1, he was literally the worst goalie in the playoffs. He did horrible. Was letting in goals that he never lets in. I don't know, something got in his head or if it was just a fluke. But maybe he's back. If he's back, Jets are a problem.
Jets? You gotta watch out for the Jets.
If Hellebuck is playing the way he can play, they can beat any team. Including the Edmonton Oilers, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But if he remains to be inconsistent, if he stays shaky, Dallas has looked so good. I don't know what happened in this game, but we'll I don't know what to think about this series because going into the series I was like, oh, Dallas is gonna rip them apart. And now I'm like, I have no idea. So we'll see. Game 3 today. I think an early start time today.
4:30.
Yeah, Game 3's at 4:30. So you'll just be getting out of hockey. Charlie's got hockey today too. Okay. So yeah, what are your thoughts? Who takes Game 3? Jets. Okay. I think they'll keep the ball rolling. Back in Dallas though. I mean, it's gonna be a home ice advantage.
That's hard, but Hellebuck, you can fear the Jets if Hellebuck plays.
Yeah.
But if Rantanen plays the way he's playing,
That's true.
You have to fear the Stars.
It's the Rantanen versus Hellebuck show. We'll see.
I don't know.
I think Jets need to come out of Dallas with at least one of those wins. They have the next 2 games will be in Dallas, and then it'll be tied back up going back to Winnipeg. 2-2. They'll have the home ice advantage again. So this was the first time the Jets won the division. I didn't realize that. I feel like there was a couple years there where the Jets were, I thought, on top, but they must not have ever won. They must have just been number 2.
The years that they were other than this year, I think their best year was when we were number 1.
And we got number 1, 2018, right?
Around
and then
that
they
time.
kicked us out. They beat us in the playoffs. Okay, staying in the West. Last night we had Game 3 of Oilers Golden Knights, Edmonton versus Vegas. Edmonton handedly won the first 2 games. Well, there was moments where Vegas looked good, but I think overall Edmonton was... It's weird because so many of their wins have been comeback wins, but somehow they still look dominant. I don't quite know how to describe it. I guess dominant's not the right word. It's almost more like they look inevitable. Like, it's just inevitable that Edmonton is going to end up with the win. And last night, it looked like maybe the same thing. So, Edmonton goes up Charlie didn't get to watch this game. Edmonton goes up 2-0 in the first. Wow, let's go. But Calvin Pickard has won the last 6 starts. Edmonton's been on a 6-game win streak, which was their longest win streak of the season, surprisingly. Yep. The first 2 games of the playoffs were started by Stuart Skinner, and they lost. Pickard took over. They win 6 in a row. Won the first round series, won the first 2 games of this series. Pickard is hurt. Stuart Skinner starts this game. Edmonton goes 3 after a nice push from Connor McDavid, which we got to talk about Game 2 in a minute, too, because McDavid put poor Jack Eichel on a poster board. But ties it up. Then Edmonton ties it up in the last period, right? So 3-3, and you're thinking this thing's going to overtime with 0.4 seconds left on the clock. 0.4 seconds left in the game. Who was it? Wasn't Carlson. Riley Smith gets around the D, just like kind of fakes the shot, gets the defenseman to drop down and the goalie out of position, gets around to almost like behind the net and shoots it back towards the net. It isn't going to go in, but Leon Draisaitl just accidentally, like trying to clear the puck and make sure it doesn't go in, tips it into his own net with 0.4 seconds left. And Golden Knights take Game 3. Series is now 2-1. Game 2, what happened in the overtime? Do you remember?
I didn't watch this.
The goal was
you told me
incredible.
McDavid.
Yeah, McDavid just here. We'll stream it here in a minute. McDavid just puts the burners on and zooms past Jack Eichel. He made poor Eichel look just so silly. And now he's got a 2-on-1 with Leon Draisaitl. Imagine being that defenseman and that goaltender. And you have arguably two of the top 3 players in the league right now coming at you in a 2-on-1. McDavid sells the shot, so the goalie and defenseman both think he's going to shoot, passes it over to Leon Draisaitl for the easy goal. Oilers win in overtime. So, interesting series. It's been close every game. Obviously, that one was overtime. This one was 4-3 with a last-second goal. Game 4 will be, I guess, Monday. Yeah, Monday night will be Game 4. I don't know what's going to happen in that series either. I'm still sticking with Edmonton right now. Same. So that would take us to maybe an Edmonton and Winnipeg? Edmonton and Dallas? I don't know who's going to come out of that Central Division matchup. So we'll see there. Okay, you want to take us to the East?
Let's see, in the East, Maple Leafs, Panthers.
Maple Leafs, Panthers. They had game, what game was that? 3 on Friday night. Oh, that's right. Panthers took it in OT. Tell us, what happened in this game, Charlie?
First of all, in Hut, NHL 25, I made the fantasy card for Matthew Nyes a couple weeks ago, and then just a few days ago, I made John Tavares, and they're both on the Maple Leafs. And to start out this game, with 23 seconds in, which is Matthew Nyes' number, he scores.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Matthew Nyes' number. You're like hockey Illuminati here with the strange stats. That's cool. Okay.
And which makes his card 98 overall.
Yeah, he's been incredible. Look, the card's been so good.
John Tavares scores
5 minutes later.
And he went up to overall 94. And then Barkov scored for the Panthers. And then John Tavares scored again to make his card 95 overall. And then Reinhardt scored. Carter Verhaeghe scored.
Now the game's tied up.
Jonah Gadjevich.
Yeah, takes the lead for the Panthers.
Morgan Riley ties it up
in the third.
And then Brad Marchand wins it in overtime.
So big win for the Panthers to get the series to 2-1. But yeah, Charlie had a good Hut game there. Both your cards get overalls. You go up 3 really in total. So that was an exciting one for you. So that's been a really interesting series. Every game is like must watch TV, and that next game is tonight
at 7:30.
At 7:30 p.m. So we won't have a super late game tonight, which is nice. 7:30 Maple Leafs Panthers Game 4. Panthers now have some momentum. This game's also in Florida. I'm going with Florida again tonight. I think they tie up the series. I want to see this one go to Game 7.
I think this is going to be another high-scoring one, but ultimately Panthers take it.
I wonder if Stolarz is ready to come back. The Maple Leafs starting goalie's been injured.
That would change things for sure.
Yeah, if Stolarz comes back, I think that might give Toronto the edge again. But Joseph Wool's been okay, but kind of kind of iffy.
If Stolarz comes back, that might win them the series.
Yeah, and Bobrovsky's he's like hanging in there, but he hasn't been incredible this playoffs either. Okay, so that's one matchup in the East, and then the last matchup is Capitals Hurricanes. I think Carolina's taking this one. Washington came back and took game 2, but Carolina just shut out the Capitals 4-0 yesterday. Goals from Svechnikov, who's now to 99 overall in Hut, Roslovic, Robinson, and Jackson Blake. Carolina fans got to be pumped. They're going to another conference final. What did you say this morning? How many is that?
I don't know exactly, but the Hurricanes are a really consistent team of making it far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's been forever since they've been, eliminated in round 1.
Yeah, it's like they always are moving into that second, third round.
They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think a couple times at least in the last several years. And, including the 1 year with the weird divisions.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes took out the Preds in round 1.
And Jacob Slavin looks really good. Team USA defenseman. He got the game winner. He's starting to show more of his offense this playoffs. I think he's scoring at maybe a half point per game or so. And I'm going to look up his stats. I don't think he's usually statted to score that often.
Yeah, Jacob Slavin.
He's known for being a shutdown defenseman.
Which makes him one of the best he's one of the best defensemen in the league. If he can activate his goal scoring power with his defense, he's going to be crazy, man.
So far this playoffs, 8 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. So half point per game exactly. Career in the playoffs, 40 points in 79 games, a plus 38. So just incredible player from Denver, Colorado, 31 years old, 6'3", 207 pounds. Drafted by Carolina in the 4th round, 29th pick. I love when you get an amazing player like that deeper in the draft. But then we move to his career, 300 points in
745 games.
745, so less than half a point per game. That's what I mean. I feel like he's really stepping up his game. Even this season, only 27 points in 80 games. So nowhere, not close. I mean, close to a half a point per game, but 13 points away from a half point per game. So playing even better in the playoffs than they did in the regular season. And you love to see that from your star guys, that not only do they stay good, but they get better when it matters most. So that's, I think, really cool from Slavin. Makes me want to cheer for Carolina just a little bit more. Sebastian Aho is good. Seth Jarvis really good. Logan Stankoven good. And I feel bad for Carolina just because they trade for Mikko Rantanen. He decides he doesn't want to sign there, or at least not for what they offer him. I don't know what they offered him. So they have to end up getting rid of him. If they lose Martin Necas, maybe one of their most promising players, and Jack Drury, right?
Yes.
And now their return, at least they got Logan Stankoven
and
some picks. Yeah, some first-round picks. So hopefully they can turn this into something positive for their team. But yeah, I think I like Carolina in this one. I think they take out the Capitals. The Capitals had an incredible year. Nobody expected them to be good. They were the best team in the East all year long. Ovi breaks the goal scoring record this year. Just unreal season from the Capitals.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Their first round against the Canadians was crazy. With the Tom Wilson.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Tom Wilson's done some sketchy stuff in the past too, so I don't think I'm the biggest fan. I don't know if there's any Capitals players that I'm just really high on. I really love to watch or so excited to see. Even Ovi, who is, it's weird to say because he's the greatest goal scorer of all time now. I don't actually love watching him play that much.
No.
I think it's because of the way he plays. He mostly just stays in that one spot. on the power
And
play.
just waits for a one-time.
His whole team does all the work, and he's just chilling in his spot, waiting for somebody to get him the one-timer. I don't know, but that's, I guess, not true. On 5-on-5, like, he makes big hits and stuff, so I don't know what it is, why I've never been as excited about Alex Ovechkin as other people, but
Ovechkin,
maybe it's because he's Russian. In the Russia-USA and rivalry and stuff, you know?
In round one, Ovechkin was about to hit Carrier right on the bench, and Carrier got out of the way.
Oh, yeah. Ovechkin went flying into the bench. Yeah, that was good. So, yeah, I've got Capitals in that one. Hurricanes in that one. So that would take us to Hurricanes versus Panthers or Maple Leafs. I don't know who's going to come out of that series. I think that one's a Game 7. I feel like this one's going to be 5 or 6 games. I think Hurricanes are going to dominate the rest of the series, but I wouldn't be surprised if Capitals maybe get one more win. But I think that's it. So I think it just goes 5 or 6 games.
That sounds quite realistic.
But I feel like Florida-Toronto is going to go 7 games. That's it for round 2. I think any other notes from round 2? We'll have 2 games tonight. Jets and Stars 4:30, Maple Leafs Panthers 7:30, both on Max. That's 2 weekends in a row where TNT Max guys had like all the games. Just marathon weekend for Paul Bissonnette and the TNT Max crew, which Wayne Gretzky. He's not at every one of those. They rotate. This weekend they had Rick Tocchet on, former coach of the Canucks, who just stepped down, which is very interesting. Canucks fans, I don't know what you think about this, but I mean, I liked Tocchet. I think he looked good. Quinn Hughes loves Rick Tocchet. I remember listening to him in an interview before the season where he was talking about how great their relationship is. And I know Rick Tocchet loves Quinn Hughes. There's been some weird stuff surrounding Quinn Hughes on if he wants to play for Vancouver or not anymore. We know that he really wants to play with his brothers. The question is, would he want to go to New Jersey to play there? Or is he trying to get Vancouver to bring Luke and Jack to Vancouver? I don't know. I don't see that happening. I don't know what they would have to give.
New Jersey is probably more realistic.
I think so too, especially after the season that Vancouver had. It was such a disaster with the Elias Pettersson, JT Miller drama. They get rid of Miller. Pettersson's still not playing great. Pettersson will have a no move clause starting next year on his contract. I would not be surprised if Vancouver trades him away this summer before the no move clause goes into effect. Their GM, he was talking about Quinn Hughes, and he said he called him to tell him about the Rick Tocchet news before, because he didn't want him to find out via the news or social media or something. And he was like, he didn't answer my call. He still hasn't called me back. And I was like, that's kind of weird to just be telling the public. It's because it sounds like you're almost mad at him, So I don't know what's going on in Vancouver. Will be interesting to see. After such a promising run last year in the playoffs, they knocked out the Preds and gave Edmonton a really tough series. I think people were starting the season Vancouver's going to be good, and they were not good.
I mean, they might have to rebuild their team again, which is definitely sad considering.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
That they just finished a rebuild.
Yeah, and looked good. It stinks for guys like Connor Garland and Quinn Hughes and guys that are playing well. Kiefer Sherwood had an awesome season for Vancouver. They're playing great, and the rest of the team just isn't. So something's going wrong over there, which, as Preds fans, we know a lot about. So understandable. Okay, speaking of, as Nashville Predators fans, this week was a big week. I don't even remember. Seth Jones, I think, the last time the Preds had a top 10 draft pick. And here we are this year. We finished the season slotted to pick 3rd.
Yes.
But the draft lottery was on Monday night. And long story short, the Nashville Predators fell to the 5th pick, which was as low as we could have fallen. Because what they do is they have a lottery for the top 2 picks. So the only way we were going to fall to 5th was if 2 teams that finished ahead of us in the standings, so did better than us, won the lottery, and that's exactly what happened. Who won the lottery?
The first one went to the Islanders.
The New York Islanders, who were for a while in the wild card race. They've got the first overall pick.
They had a 3.5% chance of getting the first pick. And
incredible odds. Yeah, 3.5% chance. They got it. Obviously their fans were super excited. There was a little bit of controversy surrounding the pick because I didn't know this, but apparently the Islanders president had just written Gary Bettman a letter telling him he was upset because the NHL, I guess, had moved. There was going to be, I don't remember if it was an all-star game or something in New York, and they decided not to do it next year. But there wouldn't have been an all-star game next year anyway, so maybe it was a future one. Because something about their arena, and so people were saying that maybe it was rigged, and he gave it to the Islanders because they were mad at him, and he wanted to be like, okay, here, you guys can have the first pick. Which I don't believe. I don't get behind the controversy stuff. They did this lottery live, which was the first time they've ever done that. And I think they did it partially to stop people from saying it's rigged. Because every year, there was one year particularly where it was really weird. They were just reading off the cards who won the picks. They did the picks behind the scenes and then came out to read the cards. And when they lifted up one of the cards to read who got the first pick, there was a different team on it at first, and they went like, oh, and then picked up the other one, and people were like, wait, what just happened? Did they just change who got the first pick? But I don't think they did. I think they just had the cards out of order.
They're like, oh, I just picked up the third.
Yeah, there was just like a mistake or something, you know. I don't think they actually would rig it, but you never know. You know, there's lots of people that enjoy that kind of controversy. So Islanders get first pick. Second pick
it was the Utah Hockey Club. Now it's called the Utah Mammoth.
We found out this week also the Utah Hockey Club is officially named the Utah Mammoth. So new logo and name for that team.
But Utah was in. Well, they didn't do bad enough in the season to get the second actual pick. The best they could get was the fourth pick, I think. So that's what they got.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So the way they have it set up is you can only move up so many spots.
I think it's like 10.
Yeah, and so maybe they finished 14th or 14th
I think I saw
up
they
from
finished
the bottom.
14th
So
and they got 4.
yeah, and they got to move up to spot number 4, which that when the Islanders won the first overall pick, the Preds were slotted to pick third before the Islanders got the first pick, right? So then when they got the first, that bumps Sharks down to second, Blackhawks down to third, Preds down to fourth. But then Utah bumps us from the fourth pick, and that bumps us down to the fifth pick. So Preds now have the 5th overall pick. It'll go Islanders, Sharks, Blackhawks, Utah, Mammoth, and Preds.
I can't believe that we finished behind the Mammoth and the Islanders.
And they get to pick ahead of us. But, you know, good thing, people aren't really sure who the number 1 overall is. And since you don't have the number 1 pick this year, I think that's a good thing if you're a fan because it's less certain that you didn't get the best guy. We could easily, I think, end up getting the best guy at number 5 because nobody really knows who the best guy is, which is cool. The guy I said last week that I want the Preds to pick is James Higgins. I'm still holding to that. Not many. What are the pre-drafts called when people like guess the drafts? Mock drafts. Yeah, not many mock drafts have the Preds landing James Higgins, but a couple of them do. One thing that makes me a little less sure is he's from Long Island. So if the Islanders end up liking him, it's always cool when you draft a guy from your area. So I could see Higgins going to New York just from that. But I'm still kind of hoping we get the American James Higgins.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of good picks up in those top 5 or top 5 to 10. Who are some of the ones that stand out to you besides Higgins?
Schaefer.
Matthew Schaefer's a defenseman.
He's a defenseman.
Which some people are like, no, Nashville can't pick a defenseman. We always pick a defenseman. They got to do something else. Because we famously have drafted really good defensemen over the years. Shea Weber, Roman Josi, Ryan Suter. Like, we have a really good system for developing our defensemen, drafting, and then developing. Yeah, Roman Josi, right? But you have to remember, like, Josi isn't young anymore. I mean, he's young, but not for a hockey player, right? He's doesn't have that many years left. So if he's who's available and he's the clear best pick him. Take the best pick. I think definitely we take whatever player we think is the best one available. Because there's no guarantee that whoever we draft is going to be ready to fix the issues that the Preds have right now anyway.
I mean, I'll still be happy if he's still available when it comes down to our pick.
Yeah, Matthew Schaefer for sure. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
So, I mean, I'd be pumped. So, Schaefer's good. Hagen's good.
Michael Misa.
That's a winger, right?
Yes.
Hagen's is a center. I think I'd rather get a center, but winger, if that's the best player available, take him. Same for Forsberg. Forsberg's not super young either.
For most of the things I've seen, most mock drafts have Misa going second, which is the Sharks.
Okay.
Let's see. There's also Porter Martoni, who also a winger, I think.
Yep. That's right.
He's projected to go 4th based off of mock drafts.
So that might be Utah.
That might be Utah. But the Preds, I don't know who we might get, because there's definitely some options out here.
Yeah. No,
like,
we definitely have options.
Caleb Desnoyers or something?
Yeah. He's high on the list. Who's the guy with the injured back we were talking about? Roger McQueen. He's high up on the list.
Roger McQueen, he's like big. He's like 6'5", and he's a really fast skater. He can skate good.
Nice. One of those skillful big players.
But
maybe like a Tage Thompson type. Yeah, that's cool. So it's going to be fun to watch. That's coming up. When is the draft?
I don't remember.
It's after the playoff, after the finals, right?
So maybe
sometime in June.
Yeah, late June somewhere.
Late June. So that's going to be fun to keep an eye on. And remember, the Preds have 3 first-round picks. I could definitely see us like making a trade, either a hockey trade where we trade one of those picks and try to get a player that we think will help our team. Barry Trotz, our general manager, did say in his meeting this week, which was also on Monday, that he's looking every day at what hockey trades are available. He said he wants pieces, I think, more along the lines of like Michael Bunting. Like tough, gritty players he wants to add. He feels like we added skill last year with Stammer and Marchessault and stuff, and wants to add a few more players like that, like Bunting. He's just kind of a grittier sandpaper type player. So that'll be interesting to see. I could see us trading one of our 3 first-round picks. Know what also I thought of?
What?
If one of those teams above us in the top 4, like Utah or something like that, I could see us trading our pick plus one of our other first-rounders to them so that we can move up. If there's a player we really want in that top 5 that the other teams are like, we don't really care which one we get, I could see us swapping picks with one of the teams above us too.
Maybe
so
if we trade with the Blackhawks, we'll have the projected slot for James Higgins unless he goes first or second.
Yeah, exactly. We could trade with the Blackhawks. We could trade with the Islanders and get the first overall pick. That'd be crazy.
That's crazy.
Because what if you're the GM of the Islanders and you're like, man, we didn't think we were getting the first overall pick. We don't really care which one of these top players we get. If we can get them at number 5 and one more by swapping with the Preds, give the Preds the number 1 overall pick, that'd be awesome. then we can take who we want. Because I'm sure our scouts have been watching these guys super closely, knowing we were going to have one of the top picks. I bet we have more of an idea of which one we want. So, interesting. It's going to be tough decision time for sure for the Preds. But yeah, are we ready for our featured cards of the day?
Yay!
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know why the Halo song's in my head. Dun, 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 dun. We played some Halo last night. Dun, dun, dun,
And you turned on the song.
dun, dun, dun. Here come the boys.
Oh.
Come on in. Time for the featured cards of the day. Who wants to go first?
Me.
Sully, what do you got?
Peter Forsberg for NHL All-Star Games.
Ooh, that's a good one. Peter Forsberg.
You looking for your card?
Former Nashville Predator.
I have mine. Yeah.
Yeah, famously.
But more famous, of course, for his time with the Colorado Avalanche and the Quebec Nordiques. Who's next?
Me.
What you got? Oh, just pulled this yesterday from the Dallas Rantanins. The Mikko Rantanen Young Guns full art card from Upper Deck Series 2. That was such a cool pull. We were excited for that. We got to get that one in a case, huh?
Yes.
Still, that's an Avalanche card, obviously. Mikko Rantanen was on the Avalanche this year before going to Carolina and then on his way to Dallas.
Wow.
Charlie, what you got?
Yeah, so we all opened Series 2 packs.
Yeah, we got some Series 2 packs yesterday.
And this person I'm holding is on the Team USA World Championship team.
Oh.
His UD Portraits, Will Smith.
Center it up a little bit. Oh, UD Portraits Will Smith. He played a good game, too. He's looking good. Exciting young player for San Jose. That's a good one. Okay. Mine. Also Team USA, but not on this roster because he's still in the playoffs. And the other night, he had one of the best games that I've seen in the playoffs so far, all the way up until the final play of the game where he got posterized by the best player in the league, Connor McDavid. I've got the Artifacts Arum Jack Eichel. Pulled this a few weeks ago. Incredible card. I just felt bad for him is why I picked this one. He had such a good game. And, I don't know if Vegas is gonna be able to take out McDavid and company and the Oilers. But he played so good that night, and all everyone's going to remember is that last play where McDavid just flies by him and makes him look silly. A lot of people thought should have been in the Selke nomination. He's been playing really good offensively and defensively. And I think he shut down McDavid pretty well in the Four Nations tournament, too, the 2 times we played Team Canada. So I'm big on Jack Eichel right now. I thought that was tough, too. In his draft year, McDavid went number 1, Eichel went number 2. So the only guy drafted higher than him just completely smoked him for the overtime winning goal. So felt bad for him. Had to pick Jack Eichel, but we'll see if he can continue with Vegas against McDavid. And he's got a cup. He got a cup 2 years ago with Vegas. So
Yes.
good for him. All right, that's it for episode 13. Thanks for tuning in. What do we need to do before we sign off?
Well, we're just gonna have you guys do all the things.
Do all the things, which means like the video,
Subscribe.
subscribe to the channel, subscribe to our Twitch, our YouTube, follow us on social media. We haven't posted some shorts in a little while, but we're planning on trying to get more clips and shorts to post on our social media channels. Just from the episodes each weekend when we do them.
Comment who you have for the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I don't know who to pick. I think I'm leaning towards Edmonton, still going from the West, with Toronto maybe, Florida maybe, or Carolina. I don't think it's Washington, but I'm still out on those other 3. But really, it's all up in the air right now. Nobody looks like they're just gonna tear through. If I had to guess, like my closest thing to a sure thing for making the conference final right now, I would say Carolina Hurricanes.
And most of all, stay saucy.
Stay